we are live. Wonderful. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Should You Take That Case, where we discuss medical case screenings. And we do that with an attorney that is a part of our private group, the Attorney Medical Record Resource Group in LinkedIn. I'm glad you're all here today. Either you're here live or you are on the replay. Either way, it's wonderful to have you, and thanks for watching us. What we do here on Should You Take That Case, it's mostly just to get to know each other a little bit better, find out how we all got to, how these attorneys have gotten to be the attorneys that they are, and get to know each other a little bit better. And today we're going to have Steven Tannenbaum Esq from New York, who is a very lively guy. And I think we're going to learn a lot from him. And get ready to enjoy. And if you don't know already, I am Lisa Wade, legal nurse consultant. I'm the owner of Wade Nurse Consultants and the creator of our LinkedIn community attorney medical records resource group. And that is where we get all of these wonderful attorneys to come be on our show and share info about themselves and their experiences. So I just want to scoot over to the comments and the chat to see if anybody is here live with us today. But also, if you're on the replay watching us, welcome. I'd like you to, if you are a member of our Attorney Medical Record Resource Group, please drop an M in the chat just so we can see you, say hello, and thank you for coming. If you are part of Women Owned Law, a wonderful group that I am a part of and enjoy very much, put a W in the chat so we can see you and say hello. And if you are just a transient entrepreneur that happened to toddle onto our show today, please put an E in the chat so we can see you, say hello, and thank you for coming, whether you are live or on the replay. Thanks for taking your precious time out of your day to spend a little time with us. I hope we are here all together to take advantage of an opportunity to live, to learn and listen a little bit more, and maybe lengthen our connections in this growing world of virtual networking that we have all been exposed to for the past year. Welcome, everyone. And now I'm going to introduce our guest attorney today. That is Steven B. Tannenbaum. He is the senior partner at Tannenbaum, Bellantone, and Silver, PC, a civil litigation law firm in Lake Success, New York. His practice of over 40 years has been limited to the representation of plaintiffs and defendants in catastrophic medical malpractice, personal injury, labor law, and product liability cases. He has been selected by Who's Who top attorneys of North America as an exclusive President's Circle attorney for continuous excellence within the legal community. And now I present to you Steven Tannenbaum. Hey.
Hi, everybody. Hello, Lisa. How are you?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me here on this nice spring day when you could be out doing goodness knows what. Thanks for being here with us today.
My pleasure.
Oh, I'm so glad. First, Steven, I know we're going to get in and dive in and talk to you about all of your wonderful medical cases, all of your wonderful experience, and that you're going to share with us. But before we do that, I really want to know, and we really want to know about you. How did you get to be the attorney and the person that you are today? You can start from, you can start from birth if you like, but
Well, it
anywhere along the continuum would be fine.
doesn't go quite back that far, but I was. I hope everybody can get past my Brooklyn accent. But I grew up in New York, and I went to law school in New York. And when I graduated from law school in the late '70s, it was really the golden age, in my opinion, of trial lawyers. And it was kind of the dawn of medical malpractice litigation. And when I went to law school, I was fortunate enough to take a trial advocacy class with one of these lawyers who I determined and very quickly came to know as one of the premier trial lawyers probably in the country. His name was Al Julian. And I admired his passion. I admired his ability to learn and speak medicine. I admired his quick thinking on his feet. And I said, I want to be like Al when I grow up. So if I ever grow up, I hope to be like Al.
Oh, it's good. It's good to have a good mentor. That's for sure. But I know New York is they say sometimes that, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. I'm just trying to find out how was New York a special kind of place to go to law school? Was there something unique in that for you?
Well, I'm a New York native, having been born and growing up in Brooklyn, but going to law school in Manhattan itself, was a very different experience. Brooklyn is a borough of homes and churches, as it was known when I grew up. Manhattan was very fast-paced, buzzing, exciting, full of smart people, full of people getting places and accomplishing things, and I wanted to, as best as I could, try and be a part of that crowd.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Well, let's get into those medical cases that come your way. What
Sure.
kind of factors go into you deciding if that's a case that you're going to take, or is it a case you're going to refer out to another law firm, or if it's a case not that's has no merit? How do you go through? What process do you go through to find out that?
Well, in the pre-COVID era, I met with every single client personally. In the COVID era, we're doing that virtually, and you kind of get the same feeling, but it's not as good as seeing somebody eye to eye. But what I like to do is I like to separate things. I like to rate the client as to whether or not this client will be compliant, will follow legal advice, will understand that I have their best interests at heart. And I also rate the case itself. So sometimes you have what I call like an A client with a D case, meaning a very nice, good client, someone who would have jury appeal, but the case doesn't have either much merit or it doesn't have significant enough damages to justify litigation. I'm really not interested in clogging up the courts with cases that shouldn't be brought. So I first want to see if I have a legitimate client, a good person, with jury appeal, and who needs my help. And a lot of clients come in seeking vengeance or seeking to take a doctor's license away. And I tell them that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to get you justice under the law. So the first thing I evaluate is the client. Are they truly hurt? Can I make a difference in making their life better by taking their case? Then obviously we have to take a very deep dive into the merits of the case and determine the nature of the case, the number of experts we might need, the amount of work that's going to be required, the cash outlay, the disbursements, and the areas of law. Having practiced for 43 years now, I've seen just about every type of case. I say from podiatry cases to brain surgery cases and everything in between. And, with the internet being available right away, we can kind of get some really quick research at our hands. But I do, at the end of the day, evaluate whether this client has jury appeal, whether I believe they're telling me the truth, and whether they need my help to the extent that litigation is justified. And at that point, I commit to the case.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you make sure that it's a case that would benefit for you, but also beneficial for the client to pursue.
Yeah, absolutely. I tell every client I have many cases, but you only have one, and I want to make sure your one case is evaluated properly and handled properly.
That is good. Well, on to those, those medical records that often come up with part of all of these cases, these types of cases. What kind of process or routine, if any, do you have for completing medical record reviews?
Sure, that's a challenge to anybody handling medical malpractice cases because there are usually so many records. In days of old, before electronic medical records existed, as you know, all the records used to come in handwriting,
Mm-hmm.
and I would spend a great amount of time deciphering handwriting, and there was nothing better than cross-examining a doctor on his or her own handwriting, which they couldn't read. So that was always fun, especially in front of a jury. These days, everything's coming in electronically, as you know, so it makes it much easier to find words and things like that. But it's very important to take a detailed medical history because you could very well miss something in evaluating the case in front of you if you don't have a good medical history. So I look at evaluating these cases as if I was a doctor and this patient or client was presenting him or herself to my office, for help, medical help, and I would want to take a detailed medical history. So that involves spending time with the client, getting all the records in, and then understanding how to organize and review records. But in the days of modern medical electronic records, everything being typewritten, it's much easier to find and to catalog and to deal with. But I do want to know everything I can about the client's medical background.
All right. Well, that's good. Yeah, it sounds like you want to know as much as you can pre-injury,
Yes.
and that's pretty important. Now, what do you find, if anything, the most puzzling or the most bothersome about dealing with those medical records that are involved in these kinds of cases?
Well, first of all, they're expensive to obtain. And here in New York, we have a law requiring that the healthcare providers cannot charge more than 75 cents a page. But when you are evaluating a case like a nursing home case with sacral decubitus ulcers and things like that, it's very important that you see all the records, and they may have been in that institution for 2 or 3 years before all of this happened, and we have to go through the nutrition records and the medical records and the medical orders and the risk assessments, for developing ulcers and things like that. So it's very challenging to get all of these records in and then to get them in the proper order. So we try to work with people like yourself and other services who are invaluable these days in doing case chronologies for us. So those case chronologies serve a very important function because, number one, they allow us to condense the case so we can then present it to an expert witness, the applicable medical provider. And they're also invaluable in terms of doing depositions because if we have chronologies in front of us with page references, which are cross-referenced and things like that, then that's half of the preparation for the deposition. So it's very important to know what medical records you need. You don't always need them all. And even in a malpractice case against the hospital, if it's an orthopedic surgery case and something was done improperly surgically, you don't necessarily need the other 700 pages of records. You may just need admission, discharge, summary, operative reports, consultant reports, radiology reports, and the like. So it's important to determine which records you need to represent the client properly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you know, there some of those records can be full of pages and pages of things that are not even relevant. So
Yep.
I can see digging through it can be a nuisance.
Yep. Usually is that way.
All right. And what advice, and I know you have plenty, what advice do you have for any um, newcomers or accomplished, attorneys, veterans? What advice do you have regarding taking those medical cases, reviewing them, and how they should go about deciding if they should take those cases or not?
Okay, I do have some advice to share, and a lot of it because I may have learned the hard way coming up. But my first piece of advice to any newcomer is the following: become an accomplished negligence practitioner, and by that I mean understand what reasonable care, reasonable behavior is like in general. You must understand medical terminology. You must understand medicine. If you don't understand medicine, then you have no business going anywhere near a medical malpractice case. And you can cut your eye teeth by handling personal injury cases. And what I did very early on my career, before the internet existed, I read these medical books on the trains going back and forth from Brooklyn to Manhattan. I took medical school courses at New York Medical College in anatomy. I went to every seminar that I could go to, given by lawyers and by doctors, and learn to pronounce your medical terminology, because the worst thing to do is if you go to an expert and the expert sees that you don't understand medicine or you don't know what you're talking about, it's going to ruin your credibility. So for new lawyers, really, really learn your craft in handling personal injury and negligence cases, because malpractice cases pose a very, very different problem and much more complicated. They're much more expensive to handle. They require a lot more work, and we really do face world-class defense lawyers in every single case. So don't ever take a medical malpractice case in your office with the thought that there's a bad injury here, I can somehow figure out liability and get it settled. It doesn't work that way. They put you to the test, and you need to know what you're doing. For older, experienced lawyers who have gray hair like mine, which used to be red, this is what happens after trying cases for 43 years. For older lawyers, be prepared for the battle. Represent your client zealously. Learn how to properly cross-examine an expert witness, because many cases are won and lost over there. So take as many medical classes as you can. Read medical journals. Read medical articles. Look up on the internet. Do your homework. When you cross-examine a cardiothoracic surgeon, it's just not the same as cross-examining a driver and asking him or her where they were looking at the time of impact. You must understand that surgery well enough to explain it back to your expert. Okay, and also, most importantly, work with your expert. Select a good, reputable expert. Go see the expert at the start of the case, as I do. Speak with the expert prior to the depositions, as I do, so we know exactly if the expert needs some more information, and certainly spend as much time before the trial with the expert preparing him or her until they say, enough already, I get it. Okay, you cannot over prepare enough for the trial of these cases.
All right. Excellent. It sounds like preparation is key.
It certainly is, like anything else in life.
Excellent. But Stephen, you are full of real life potent experiences, and I'm so glad you're here to share them with us. And we're gonna have time for some Q&A, and so anybody that's visiting with us today, or feel free to start getting your questions together and putting them in the comments, and we're going to ask Stephen for even more information. I can see in the comment we have Shanita Blue, who's here with us today. She's just saying hi.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi. She's just saying hi for right now. But if anybody else, it's question and answer time. Get your questions together and get ready to put them in the comments. But before we do that, while you're getting your questions together, I always like to take time for a little commercial break, so to speak. And, Stephen has talked to us about managing those catastrophic cases and catastrophic injury and medical malpractice cases, and definitely cross examining experts. It's important to, get be knowledgeable about all of those medical injuries and conditions, the medical terminology. That's important. And reviewing those medical records, even patients' histories or people's histories before the injury. And at Wade Nurse Consultants, we do have a free guide to help you create or revamp your current procedures around medical records that come along with your medically related cases. It's called the 5 Attorney Tips for Substantive Medical Record Reviews. We're going to have a link to that free guide will be coming eventually in our comments section. But if at any point, it'll be in the description section of this YouTube channel. Click on there and get your free resource to help you set up a oh, good. It made it there. Yeah, good. So, please click on it to get that resource that'll help you set up a routine to manage your medical record reviews in a high quality, timely fashion. Now back to Steven and question and answers. Let's take a look. If anybody has any questions for Steven, let's put them in the comments. And it looks like maybe we don't have a flurry of questions right now, but we often have people that watch on the replay, have a chance to look it over and have questions. So if you're watching on the replay, put those questions still in the comments and I'll funnel them to Steven, and I'm sure he'll answer them. Won't you, Steven?
My pleasure. Anything for you, Lisa.
Oh, good. Well, it looks like since we don't have any questions at the moment, it looks like we're going to wind up a little bit. I'm so glad that you came and shared all of your experiences with us today, Steven. And I hope that you will come back again.
My pleasure. It's a rewarding practice, and today was a very rewarding experience. Thank you.
I'm so glad. Well, on our way out, I'm just going to remind a little of our viewing audience, live or on the replay. Steven Tannenbaum Esq, out of New York, straight out of Brooklyn, and we're going to put in the the description box at our YouTube channel will be Steven's contact information. Feel free to reach out to him when you have those personal injury or malpractice questions. We're going to get you straight to Steven. And in the meantime, before our next show, let's just remind you all to visit our LinkedIn group, the Attorney Medical Record Resource Group. Join if it looks like a good fit for you. Remind you to like us on our YouTube channel and subscribe. Email me at Lisa at wadenurseconsultants.com with any questions or concerns you have about medical records, because I'm a medical record expert. It's true. And watch out for and tune in to our show, which will be next week. We'll have William Newkirk Esquire from California will be on our show. Catch us next time, Monday, 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode of Should You Take That Case? Thanks again, Steven. We'll see you on the next.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Take care, everybody. Bye.